1. Vesna Vulovic. On January 26, 1972, Vesna Vulovic, a 22-year-old Serbian flight attendant, was on JAT Yugoslav Airlines. Flight 367 when a bomb planted in the cargo hold exploded midair. The aircraft broke apart over Czechoslovakia at an altitude of 33,000 feet. Vesna was trapped inside the fuselage, which miraculously landed in a snowy forest on a mountainside. The combination of the thick trees and soft snow cushioned the impact. She was found alive but critically injured, suffering from a fractured skull, broken ribs, broken legs, and temporary paralysis. Doctors said her survival was a 1 in a billion chance. She spent months recovering and eventually regained her ability to walk. Despite her injuries, she later resumed work for the airline in an administrative role. She holds the Guinness World Record for surviving the highest fall without a parachute. 2. Aron Selak. Croatian music teacher Aron Selak lived through a series of life-threatening incidents that would have killed most people. 1962. His train derailed into a frozen river, drowning 17 passengers. Aron swam to shore with just minor injuries. 1963. He was sucked out of an airplane when a door malfunctioned at 35,000 feet, but he landed in a haystack while the plane crashed, killing all on board. 1966. A bus crashed into a river, drowning 4 passengers. Aron escaped and swam to shore. 1970 and 1973. His car spontaneously caught fire twice. He jumped out both times just before they exploded. 1995. He was hit by a bus but survived. 1996. He swerved to avoid a truck. His car fell off a cliff, but he was ejected and grabbed onto a tree, avoiding a deadly fall. The ultimate twist. In 2003, he won the lottery, taking home nearly $1 million. Instead of living lavishly, he donated most of the money and lived a simple life. 3. Julian koepcke. Julian koepcke was 17 years old when Lanza, Flight 508 was struck by lightning over the Amazon rainforest. The plane disintegrated midair, and she fell 10,000 feet, 3,000 meters, strapped to her seat. Somehow, she survived the fall with only a broken collarbone, a deep cut on her arm, and minor burns. Alone in the jungle, she relied on survival skills taught by her biologist parents. She followed a stream, knowing it would lead to a river and eventually to people. She survived on rainwater and small fruits. Her wounds became infected with maggots, but she used gasoline from an abandoned hut to kill them. After 11 days, she was found by local lumber workers and rescued. Later, she became a biologist, following in her parents' footsteps. 4. Hugh Glass, the real-life revenant. Hugh Glass, a fur trapper, was attacked by a grizzly bear while on an expedition. The bear broke his bones, ripped his flesh, and exposed his ribs. His fellow trappers assumed he would die and left him behind. Despite horrific injuries, Glass set his own broken leg, crawled over 200 miles to the nearest settlement, survived on roots, berries, and raw meat. When he recovered, he tracked down the men who abandoned him, but instead of killing them, he forgave them. Aron Ralston. In April 2003, Aron Ralston, a 27-year-old American mountaineer, set out on a solo canyoneering trip in Utah's Blue John Canyon. He was an experienced outdoorsman but made a critical mistake. He didn't tell anyone where he was going. While navigating a narrow canyon, an 800-pound, 360 kilograms boulder suddenly dislodged, crashing down and pinning his right arm against the canyon wall. He was completely alone, stuck in a deep crevice with little food and only a small bottle of water. For the next 5 days, Ralston tried everything to free himself. He rationed his remaining water and, when it ran out, resorted to drinking his own urine to stay alive. As days passed, he realized that no one was coming to rescue him. By the 5th day, Suffering from dehydration, exhaustion, and hallucinations, Ralston made the unthinkable decision. He had to amputate his own arm to survive. Using his small, dull pocket knife, he began cutting through his flesh, tendons, and nerves. The hardest part came when he reached his bones. He had to break them first before continuing. The entire process took over an hour of unimaginable pain. Finally free, he rappelled down a 65-foot, 20-meter cliff one-handed and hiked 6 miles, 10 kilometers, until he stumbled upon a group of hikers. They immediately called for help, and a rescue team rushed him to a hospital.